We all love a good power up in anime, whether it's the screaming, and the screaming. Oh, and did I forget to mention the screaming? We can all find something about a new transformation or power up that we like. But when does it become too much? The more time goes on, the more powerful these characters will get, and it doesn't seem like any of these shows will stop anytime soon, for obvious reasons. Dragon Ball Super is the worst one out of all of them. The series just keeps making a new transformation arc after arc after arc. There's so many transformations at this point. The power leveling system doesn't make any sense anymore. At the current state of the manga, it's basically almost like Dragon Ball Heroes, or at least it's getting there. Frieza is stronger than Jiren, and most likely Beerus at this point. With probably about 3 seconds of training, he is so strong, he took out Goku and Vegeta with no effort. Like, bruh, at some point, Whis is gonna get surpassed in no time. And if these characters just keep getting stronger and stronger, there's gonna be a lot of problems that will arise. And the biggest problem that I see is that the main cast is gonna be useless. And this doesn't just apply to Dragon Ball. It's basically 95% of not just Shonen, but fighting animes in general. If the other member of the cast can't do their role as a supporting character, the story is not gonna be interesting and it's gonna become very predictable. And the main characters are just gonna become boring. The supporting characters are the characters that's gonna help build the main character to be great. And if they can't do that, the show will have no logic and sense to it. The only way a supporting character can help in any sort of way is if they get a power up. They need a power up. Unless it's One Piece, and even then the crew in One Piece is the main cast. There's no way that the writers of any of these shows will have the time or the creativity to give every single member of the cast a power up. It's just how it is. Dragon Ball Super manga is just recycling a lot of things from the original Dragon Ball series. That's how you know they're out of ideas. I don't have that much of a problem with bad power scaling, but when the scaling just gets so bad to the point where you feel like you're watching a fan fiction of the show, is where I draw the line. I mean, Black Frieza, come on. He just had a transformation not too long ago. Now this, Boruto power scaling also seems like a fan fiction as well. Teenage Sasuke went from fighting a war, to fighting Obito, to fighting Madara, to fighting Kaguya, stealing all of the tail beasts, and he still had a ton of chakra left to fight Naruto. Adult Sasuke just takes a piss once, and he's out of chakra. He just has to take a step, and he's out of chakra. If you told me that this is what's gonna happen to Adult Sasuke, I would honestly think you're trolling me. Okay, we all know that power scaling is a big problem that all these shows face. So how do we fix the issue? Well, after many years of research, calculations, watching a lot of anime, the answer that I have come up with is, I don't know. Look, I have put a lot of thought into this, and there are two ways that I think this problem can be stopped. One is to have a more balanced power scaling system, and two is just have the story end. However, with shows like Dragon Ball, Boruto, One Piece, and a few others, it's never gonna end, because the core fan base for these shows are already there, and these shows are making a lot of money. I mean, they even brought Bleach back from the dead, so they can make more money out of it. Let's just be real, they brought Bleach back because there's still a large fan base for this show, and can make these companies millions. If One Piece ever ends, and that'll probably be in the 1 million episode, there will be a next generation. If there's an audience, they will do it. When Naruto married Hinata and become Hokage, that was it. But no, they choose to extend the show by making Boruto to make more money. Then once Boruto happened, they didn't take away Naruto and Sasuke. If they would have taken these two characters away and started with just Boruto and his squad, the story would have been good and made a lot more sense. But no, they had to keep these two in to sell more figurines. And as much as I like Naruto and it's one of my favorite anime of all time, having these two being the center of attention in Boruto kinda ruined the show. For me at least. Also, having these two being in the picture will eliminate the threats and challenge that the main character will go through. Boruto had Sasuke, one of the greatest ninja of all time, train him. Naruto also helped him defeat Momoshiki. And this is why I don't like the solution of introducing the highest power ceiling from the start. I've seen a lot of people say that this solution will fix the power scaling problem, and yes, it does solve the problem, but only for the shows that are gonna actually end early. It doesn't solve the problem for the shows that are gonna continue forever until the end of time. My Hero solved the power scaling problem by having All Might introduce himself at the very beginning, but I don't like this solution. Having a strong character introduce himself as a good guy from the start, it ruined My Hero for me, because anytime that Deku is in trouble, All Might will come and save him. That's what happened to Boruto as well. Anytime that Boruto is in trouble, you know that his dad's gonna save him. For me, that ruined the actual danger and the hard work that these characters will have to go through. And that's what I like about a shonen anime, or fighting animes in general. I want to see the main character go through hardship and a lot of hard work to get to their final form. And I know these characters will never actually die because of plot armor, but having a safety net just removes a lot of the intenseness you're gonna feel in these shows. And even if they decide to remove the safety net later on in the show, at that point it's already too late, because it already ruins the development of these characters. So that's why I don't like introducing the highest power ceiling at the very beginning. But this is just how I see it though. But I do think this is a good solution to the problem, but it does bring up another problem, which is the safety net problem. Introducing the highest power ceiling in the start is actually a pretty good solution for most shows, but for shows like Boruto and Dragon Ball, it won't work, because these shows will just keep going for a very long period of time. Could you imagine if My Hero decided to go for a 500 episode kind of show? There's so many times that Deku can power up and up his percentage to where the show gets kind of stupid and weird. So I just don't like introducing the highest power ceiling from the start solution. But anyways, I don't want to get off track here. Let's go back to the Boruto problem. The show is called Boruto, not Naruto and Sasuke. Why did you keep these two characters in? Obviously for money, but if they didn't, Boruto would have been a lot better. Sasuke could have taken pretty much all of the characters in the Momoshiki arc arc with no problem at all. But they had to find a way to nerf him. And nerfing him basically destroyed his character. Also, let's not forget about Barry and Mode. That was clearly made to sell figurines. Same thing goes with Black Frieza, the new Ichigo. So I think option 2 will never work unless nobody watches these shows anymore. But that's not gonna happen. So the second option of just ending the story will not work. The only option left that I can think of is to have a power leveling system that is balanced as much as possible. Hunter x Hunter is a great example of this. The Nen system in Hunter x Hunter is the most balanced power leveling system in all of shonen anime. Actually in all of animes in general. Now I'm not saying these shows have to start over, which is not possible by the way. Nor am I saying that these shows have to outright copy Hunter x Hunter Nen system. What I'm saying is these shows can take some elements from Hunter x Hunter to make their shows a lot more balanced, so that these shows can make a little more sense. A few elements that we can take, have it be like Adult Gon. For all these shows, if anybody uses a super overpowered final ability, it should cost them basically their life and everything they have. Bleach, Boruto, and Dragon Ball all did this at one point, but later just completely brings them back all their power. I know Hunter x Hunter did this as well, but I think in all of these type of shows, if a character uses a Hex transformation, that should be their final form. Using this type of power should be the end game. This way, the power leveling system should have a ceiling to it, rather than these characters just keep powering up forever and ever. And even if the show wants to continue, after the main character uses final Hex ability, I don't care if they're the main character, they should receive permanent damage. Whether it's losing a limb, losing the ability to speak, losing their power completely, I don't care what the damage is, it should be permanent. Bleach had Ichigo use his final Getsuga Tensho, and that costed all his power, but for some reason the show just gave him his original power back, and made him even stronger than his final form. Of course it doesn't make any sense, but they did it for the cha-ching reason. Dragon Ball Super also had Goku Ultra Instinct be super costly for a moment, then now he can just spam it. Naruto transformation was the only one that made it costly, however it didn't make any sense how Naruto got his Baryon mode. Yeah, they did have a bit of an explanation, but let's just be real, the explanation didn't make any sense at all. If Kurama knows that he can use this from the start, he would have just given Naruto the Baryon mode when Naruto was losing to Momoshiki. If these shows can have a final transformation for these characters, it will solve the power scaling problem issue, but we know why they would never have a final transformation for these characters, because well, you know, these things. The second element that these shows can take is when these characters get stronger, it doesn't have to mean that they can cut bigger mountains, punch harder, move faster. It could literally just be experience, better fighting style, or a new unique ability. I think that it's interesting that the greatest Nen user of all time can't defeat the king, but some weaker Nen user can, just because of their abilities. It doesn't just have to be a higher power level or a new gear, it could be many different things. And one final element that these shows can take from Hunter x Hunter, it should just outright make the character learn more and be smarter. Like seriously, I hate to say it, but these characters can't learn anything or pick anything up besides learning how to power up even more. Goku gave Moro a sensu bean. Like, haven't you learned anything from the Cell arc? Like seriously, if you just make the characters from these shows smarter and they make the right decision, I promise you a lot of these characters will not need a new transformation every arc, and the characters will not look like a shell of their previous self. And I know all of these things that I've laid out can only solve the power scaling down, because at some point the main character doesn't get a power up, they will literally just die from the villain looking at them. The only way the power scaling problem can be solved is to just outright have the story end, but they won't do it for some of these shows because of money. So I think money is the main problem to solving the power scaling issue, because as long as there's demand for the show, these companies will keep extending the show no matter what. And this applies to Hunter x Hunter as well, by the way. Sure, the abilities can help, but if the villain just becomes so strong to the point where they can make a character disappear with a blink of an eye, the main character has to have a power up. So I don't think the power scaling problem will ever be solved. It can only be slowed down. It doesn't matter if the author wants to end the series or not, the companies will continue it. And once the villain gets so strong to the point where the supporting and side characters can't do anything anymore, that's when the show starts to suck. In order to have a good main character, you need a good side and supporting character. There needs to be other people that are doing the supporting roles. And even if the show wants to make the supporting character do the work, you will most likely get something like this. Trunks just comes in, make a spirit bomb out of nowhere, with no experience or skill by the way. Kills Fuse Zamasu faster than Vegito can. And I personally think that these writers from these shows can solve the power scaling issue, or they can make them to be a lot more balanced. And we all know why they won't try to make the power scaling to be more balanced and have the story to make a lot more sense. It's because they need more transformation. More transformation means more sales, and this cycle will most likely never stop. So I think money is the biggest problem to the power scaling issue, and we all know money ain't going away anytime soon. So in my personal opinion, I don't think we can fix this issue at all. These shows just has to die out. That is it. We can never fix this problem. But most of these shonen anime or fighting animes in general are gonna end. Even if it makes a lot of money, they're not gonna drag their show out to be like 500 episodes long. It's only a few shows that cannot be fixed, like the super mainstream ones, or at least nobody can solve this problem yet. But it's not all bad and gloomy in my opinion. Having these characters transform, get a new power up every arc is actually pretty cool. Sure, the story and the character will not make any sense, but for me, when I watch these type of shows, I just want to see a cool fight scene, cool transformation, and the screaming. I think that's the beauty of all these shows. It's not for you to analyze or to think too much about. It's for you to turn off your brain a little bit and just have a great time watching people with superpowers fighting each other. I mean, you came to Dragon Ball Super, Boruto, Black Clover, expecting a deep story, I don't know what you're thinking. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and sub. This is your boy Nitro. I'ma head out.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!